the National Legends Cars Championship in association with Park Lane Cars. Welcome along to the 7th programme in our 2022 season for the Legends Cars National Championship. We are at Brands Hatch, day 2 of the American Speedfest, a massive meeting for drivers and spectators alike. The standings look like this. Miles Rudman with a good lead over John Mickle and Will Gibson in the table. Marcus Pett is next from Steve Whiteleg and Chris Brockhurst. Jack Parker in 7th place, and 8th position is Charlie Budd. A good time to catch up with Charlie, talk about yesterday's racing for him and see what's in store for today. He's with Barry.
Round 7 here at American Speedfest now. Charlie Budd, last time out we saw you and we had our first podium, which was a great success for you. Qualifying done, 3rd place. That's a good start to the day, hopefully.
Yeah, it's good. I really wasn't expecting that this morning, but the car felt good, felt confident. Really looking forward to getting out into the race. But as I've said previously, you know, we've got Anglesey next week, so really that is in the back of my mind. I just want to make sure we bring it home this weekend, because you know, the points that you could lose if you have a mistake this weekend carries on to the next. So we just got to make sure we be sensible out there.
It's quite unusual to have such a tight calendar. They've got so many races for the drivers this season. As you say, we've got less than 7 days to the next event. So yeah, you've got to play a little bit more careful, haven't you, to make sure you get to the flag.
That's it. You know, the plan is to load up from here, and that's it. We'll be setting off on Thursday morning, work in between, and off we go. So we can't really afford to have any too many issues.
Eduardo, been a couple of years or so since we've seen you. Great to see you back at the track. First outing this year. How do you feel?
Great. It's a nice weather, obviously, and car is amazing this year. I don't know what happened with it, but car feels so good, and yeah, amazing.
Qualifying done. How'd that go?
It wasn't a very clean qualifying because it was a safety car there, but you know, it was nice to have 2-3 good laps. It was kind of like more practicing that qualifying after all this time, but yeah, good to come back.
Major event as well. We've got tens of thousands of people here spectating, which adds to the energy. Does that help or not?
Amazing. Even, you know, the kids asking you, and you know, you feel like something big. It's an amazing event. Like this American Fest is just amazing. The amount of people who's coming, all the cars, the petrol, is amazing.
Ben, round 7, Brands Hatch, American Speedfest. Now, last time out, you had varied results there, but on the last race of the day, and I know you weren't feeling well, 4th place. That's got to be a personal best.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, for personal best for us and the team and for Force and everyone, it was great. I mean, especially considering how we were feeling last round. Today we're feeling better for this round, but yeah, no, we got a good result for the final. We didn't get, you know, the good points in the races, but yeah, no, it was definitely good to get the 4th place in the final and get good points.
Shows that you're getting used to it very quickly. We're not even halfway really through the season. So how do you feel your progress is going? I mean, we can't just base it on that, but overall you're moving up the ranks.
Yeah, we're really happy with the progress, to be honest. I mean, the way we've gone from just getting in the car the first round to here, I mean, Dad's been really chuffed and we've all been really chuffed with how it's going so far. We don't really know how it's going to go from here on, but hopefully we can just keep plugging away, keep going, really.
Steve Whiteleg has drawn pole position for this race from Daniel Pooley. 2nd row, Andy Bird and Dylan Woodcock taking over from his dad Leonard. Then the 3rd row, Ben Higgins with Paul Simmons. There is Mike Schluppikar, number 3, and Jonty Norman to his outside. Jack Parker behind them. But a very good mix of experience on the front row. The newcomer, Dan Pooley, first-year driver, and his inside, the vastly experienced Steve Whiteleg in car 66. And they are leading the field here superbly, ready for this rolling start. This is really tidy from the top 2. Pacing their rivals superbly down towards the start-finish line when we will go green and get ready for racing. This moment of expectation, always love it in the Legends cars. And here we go, lights out, Andy Bird chasing in the black and white car. He's going to try and go through on the inside into second place. Flying start from Will Gibson in black and blue, makes up a couple of positions, going high, wide and handsome, to quote the late, great Brian Jones. Used to be circuit commentator here at Brands, but it's Andy Bird now getting into second, 4 wide, 5 wide in fact, as they go into Druids. Jonty Norman was on the outside of that group. He's lost a couple of places down into the first of the 2 consecutive left-handers here. Graham Hill Bend, big sort out near his camera is Chris Brockhurst in 89. Ollie Schlupp in front of us in orange and blue. The black car was Miles Rudman. The leaders already through Surtees and McLaren. Ben Higgins to the outside in car 20. Jack Parker on the inside in blue and gold. On board with Jack, now chasing Paul Simmons in 51. Paul goes across that racing line to the inside at Clark Curve, along Brabham Straight. Will Gibson moving up, I think, there into third position. He does, ahead of Daniel Pooley, who's in fourth. Then Paul Simmons, Jack Parker, followed by Mike Schlupp in the number 3. Marcus Pett is next, and a super view. You really get the feel of the roller coaster that Brands Hatch Circuit is, with that run down Paddock Hill Bend, up Hayward's Hill into Druids where they are now, downhill again, in car with Jack Parker, or on board with Marcus Pett immediately in front of us, into the left-hander, grab a little bit of curb for some of them. Ben Higgins touched the curb then. It's Mark Beattie in the green 85. Charlie Budd, who we spoke to at the start of the show. Charlie being chased by the number 1 of the championship leader, Miles Rudman. That's a menacing view, isn't it, for the rear-facing camera and the mirror of that white 44 car. Rudman looking slightly tighter there. Decent championship lead for Rudman coming into today, and he's putting Charlie Budd under pressure. A little bit of bump drafting, and that is that view. How intimidating is that? Miles Rudman putting the pressure on. He's going to go to the inside of Mark Beattie. Charlie Budd to the outside. Is Budd going to be able to complete the move? Beattie's holding on in the 85 machine. Side by side as they come up the hill again. Daniel Pooley passed by Paul Simmons. Simmons in blue, Pooley in black and green. The gunmetal 79 of Marcus Pett. And Jack Parker's going to make a move here. Switches to the inside of Daniel Pooley. Daniel, first year driver, as we said. This is his first event in the front of the field, and the start of this race had a similar look to the previous round's final, where Daniel Pooley and Steve Whiteleg were up towards the sharp end. And for the newcomers, that's what this format is all about, gaining experience when you get a first go off the front, and Daniel Pooley acquitting himself very well in this race, and indeed race 3 of the previous round. Mike Schlupp being bump drafted by Miles Rudman to try and pass Daniel Pooley along the straight into Paddock Hill Bend. Schlupp on the outside. There might be a cutback on the inside here for Miles Rudman. Momentarily I didn't think there was, but Daniel Pooley does go wider. Watch for the championship leader on the inside. There is number 1 car through under the bridge into Druids. Another place gained for Miles Rudman. Fair amount of work for him to do to catch the leading group with Will Gibson, Steve Whiteleg and Andy Bird. And we'll have to catch up with them pretty shortly. So Rudman now still ahead of Mike Schlupp, who's not being lost actually by the championship leader. This is the battle for the lead, and Will Gibson putting the pressure on the 66 car, who took a tighter line there out of McLaren, and that was defensive from Steve Whiteleg. Doesn't want to cede the place. These cars, of course, 5/8 scale replicas of the 1930s and 40s American machines on which they're based, and they haven't outgrown the circuit. So although you get defensive, it can be difficult to defend, as Steve Whiteleg is finding now with that outside line like a magnet for the 57 car. Will Gibson gets the lead. Gibson in front. Whiteleg will try and fight back, but Gibson's got the lead into Druids. Whiteleg second. Andy Bird now challenging for that second place on the back of the WTBS logos and go down the hill. These 3 clear at the moment. There's a spin for Jonty Norman at the back of shot. I don't think Jonty glanced the barriers, but once you get past that, you saw the green flags waving just to let the drivers know that all was clear. Afterwards, it's all gone off here as well. Mark Beattie and Daniel Pooley both off the track. The 2 green cars attracted to the green on the outside. Something obviously caused that, as Paul Simmons now comes under pressure from Miles Rudman. Miles looks to the inside, but it's Gibson getting away. We've got to focus on second place here. Here comes Andy Bird, the ex-supercarter. Looks to the outside, looking for his second podium of the year. Goes wide, might have a look at a cut back down the hill. Let's see what Andy can do. Steve Whiteleg's got some pace though. Bird uses all the curb, goes to the outside as they come up towards Druids. Good old scrap going on behind them for fourth as well. Through Druids, you can hear the squeal of the tyres as they go through there, downhill again. Plenty of parked up cars there, loads of spectators here today for this American Speed Fest. And the Legends racing in memory of former champion Tick Stewart this weekend as well. Such a shame, such a tragic loss to the sport and his family and friends. I think many of us were hoping that Tick was going to come back and race Legends again one day, but sadly it wasn't to be. The former world champion, very fondly remembered. And this is very much the type of racing that he was involved in. Nick Bridgman on the inside of Ollie Schlupp. Schlupp gets a good run there, and ahead of Ollie is Luke Simmons in black and green. So Simmons and Schlupp, the top 2 point scoring rookies at the moment, top 2 first year drivers, the rookie championship, racing well as we see Marcus Pett now chasing Miles Rudman. Miles up into fourth. We just saw the lead trio going ahead of us, so Rudman's mission now is to try and close those guys down, maybe take Marcus Pett with him, close up on that lead trio, who are actually a fair way ahead. But remember, Miles has come through the field. There is Paul Simmons and Jack Parker running strongly, back with the lead trio. Now is it me or is Steve Whiteleg getting closer again to Will Gibson? Gibson may not be able to break the toe from his two chasers. Whiteleg looks reasonably comfy at the moment ahead of Andy Bird. Bird's challenger a lap or so ago was a lot closer than it is now. Here comes fourth and fifth. Miles Rudman with Marcus Pett in tow. Marcus looks up the inside and getting crossed up. It's the number one car. He's facing the wrong way. This is a scary moment for him. Winds up on the outside of the track. That's much better than being right across the track itself. But Miles Rudman, was that a mistake from the championship leader? He seemed to get crossed up. I don't think there was contact with Marcus Pett, but he's got going again, but he's a fair way back as Ben Higgins goes down on the inside of Paul Simmons. Great racing here at Brands Hatch. More for you after the break. So Will Gibson across the line, he's got the fastest lap. That was back on lap 3, a 54.889, and looking for an 8th win of the season. Steve Whiteleg chasing a 3rd podium of the year. Andy Bird looking for his 2nd. Whiteleg chasing up the hill, and this gap here is actually extended a little bit for Will Gibson. He's not under any huge pressure. So it's Gibson, Whiteleg and Bird. Marcus Pett in 4th place after the problems for Miles Rudman, who is recovering through the field. There is Miles. Miles up ahead of Mark Beattie. Then it's Nick Bridgman and Gareth Sheridan in the 99 car, that team car. Gareth Sheridan, the race leaders though, coming through clearways for the last time. And Will Gibson is going to make it a 3rd win of the weekend. This is day 2 of the American Speed Fest here at Brands Hatch, and the Camberley man is going to take the checker across the line. It is a win for Will Gibson. Steve Whiteleg 2nd. Andy Bird completes the podium from, this is Jack Parker with Marcus Pett immediately ahead of him. Mike Schlupp next up from Ben Higgins, Paul Simmons, Chris Brockhurst, Charlie Budd completing the top 10 in that race. Then Luke Simmons and Miles Rudman in 12th, and as ever some super racing from the likes of Eduardo Gallego, James Newbury and Dylan Woodcock. Dylan Woodcock chasing James Newbury, and I think James is going to get the better of that one. He's 23rd, Bill Reid ahead of them. Jonty Norman completing the finishers. All 26 cars that started the race finished, so fair play to the teams for the engineering and the preparation, and the drivers for getting them through. Here's confirmation of that top 10. The winning margin just 0.6 of a second. Gibson from Whiteleg, Andy Bird in 3rd place, then Marcus Pett, Jack Parker and Mike Schlupp. 11th, as we said, went to Luke Simmons, and Miles Rudman and Ollie Schlupp. Mark Beattie 14th from Nick Bridgman and Gareth Sheridan. Daniel Pooley 17th, then John Mickle and Nathan Anthony. Luke Tukashis in 20th from Gary Whiteleg, Bill Reid, James Newbury 23rd, then Eduardo Gallego, Dylan Woodcock and Jonty Norman. And just to reiterate, fastest lap to Will Gibson who is in Parc Ferme as we speak, catching up with Barry.
Will, we meet again. Last time out on round 6, we'd had not only 2 podiums, 2 first places. We've done it again for the start of this event, so that must be a good start for the round.
Yeah, it's a brilliant start. Can't get much better. Grid 10 starting position, so we'll be similar in the next race. So we just need to repeat the same again. It was a good practice run for the second race. So yeah, fingers crossed we can go and win another one. It'll be nice to make it 4 in a row like Brands last time. So fingers crossed.
Steve, we meet again. The 66 machine is really on form. Last time out, we got a podium. Here again.
Yeah, it's been quite a good couple of days for us. Like I say, yesterday we got a second place again today, and only the one DNF, which is good news. Had a bit of an issue with half shaft yesterday, which very annoying. But we lost quite a number of points there. We'd worked our way through the field and got to a reasonable position. And I was just looking at consolidating 4th in the championship, but I don't know where I am now, to be honest.
Andy, we met on round 6, and we were talking about your car and changing the car over from earlier in the year and so forth. It's getting there, still a few tweaks, but 3rd place, got to be pleased with that.
Yeah, round 6 had an awful day. In the end, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, yeah, we fixed a few things over the night in between the rounds, and good start to today. Yeah, started at the front and managed to maintain the pace largely with Will and Steve. Good clean race, nice respectful racing. Really good, really pleased.
Paul, been a while since we caught up, but race 1 done and dusted. That was a pretty good result for you, I think.
Yeah, very good, yeah. I mean, we could have been a little bit higher up if we just had to avoid miles on the spinning going down to Paddock Hill Bend. But yeah, no, I was happy with that. The car went really well. I mean, big thanks to all the Daves, so yeah, it's really good.
Season so far?
Yeah, ups and downs. We've had a couple of good races, and then we have had silly little mechanical failures, but that's just the way legends go.
Not only a good race result for you, but your son Luke, 11th place. That was excellent.
Oh yeah, he's done really, really well. I mean, first season in the legends, I think he's second in the rookies. But yeah, no, he's pushing really, really well.
Are you still sort of mentoring him, or is he not taking any notice anymore?
He don't take no notice.
Now, Mike, we only spoke recently, but I couldn't help dragging you back out of the paddock because that's a good result.
No, I'm very pleased with the result. I started 7th, finished 6th, so as always my aim is to finish higher than I start, and I hung on to the pack at the front. I took advantage of a couple of incidents to gain a couple of places as well, so yeah, I'm really pleased with that. The JLM car was behaving itself as well, so yeah, kept it there till the end.
What most spectators wouldn't necessarily, it's hard to maintain a position. They mind trying to improve on it at all because so much happens in a short space of time.
Yes, absolutely, and you know that there are guys behind you, quicker guys, working their way through the pack. And again, yeah, due to some incidents, they got held up a bit. So you've got to take advantage of that. You've got some space to concentrate on going forwards rather than looking backwards. Although I did have Ben Higgins right behind me, pushing me hard all the way. He's a quick young man, definitely. Yeah.
Nick, thought I'd catch up with you. Last time out, round 6, I was watching you go around the circuit. We had quite a few issues. What was going on?
We've had a new engine in. We thought everything was going to be good. The car was great. It's been well prepared. Just something wasn't lacking. Something was lacking. Something wasn't there. First race we had a setup issue, which we easily resolved. And we just couldn't get the grips yesterday. Come out today and seem to be back on pace.
So race 1 done today. To be fair, you were starting from virtually near the back of the grid and you finished really well.
Yeah, we started coming through. There's a few incidents, as you know, on the track. Obviously we avoided them, but yeah, cars seems together. We was gaining on the pack and getting through, and we've got a really good start for the next race, so we're looking forward to that.
Nathan Anthony off the front in this one with Gary Whiteleg, then Ollie Schlupp and Miles Rudman, row 2. Row 3, Nick Bridgman and John Mickle. Ben Higgins has got a nice new camera for us, looking across at John T. Norman, and there is Ben, ready to partake in race number 2 of the day. Again, a very neat order of cars coming up towards the line, and lights out, we go racing now. It's a good start from Gary Whiteleg on the outside, Miles Rudman in black from row 2 on the outside, just as Will Gibson did in race number 1. Ollie Schlupp looking up the inside as well in orange and blue as they go through paddock. Everybody tied. It's Gary Whiteleg leading at the moment. Miles Rudman goes wide as they come into Druids. Nathan Anthony in third. Great start, 3 wide this time at Druids. Miles Rudman on the inside now as they go down the hill, and we'll look to convert that into the lead. We look across at Charlie Budd, back to the driver of the number 20 car. There's Luke Simmons, Gareth Sheridan, Ben Higgins in the mix there with the white car. Daniel Pooley's got a problem. That looks like a blow-up for Daniel Pooley in black and green, very sadly. He's at the back of the field for this one in the reverse grid. Andy Bird working his way through as well. Good race for Andy on the podium. Here's Steve Whiteleg's view again. Steve started up the front with Andy Bird in the last one, so has to work his way through the field here. It's Miles Rudman, the race leader. Jack Parker to the outside of Chris Brockhurst, then Will Gibson in 57. You know, Will in the interview saying he started in 10th place on the grid, so around about mid-pack. A couple of drivers going off on the gravel and rejoining. Gary Whiteleg, one of those. He's lost out big time position. Well, it's a shame for Gary. Held on extremely strongly for the opening few corners before Miles Rudman went past. So it's Miles Rudman, the race leader at the minute. He's already halfway along the straight, and this is the view from Jack Parker. Will Gibson immediately in front of us. Will to add to his points tally here, but a fair bit of work to do to close down on the front runners. Ollie Schlupp on the grass. Ollie rejoins fairly much safely, doesn't cause any issues for sure. Gareth Sheridan chasing Ben Higgins, Andy Bird in behind, and these opening laps very often about everybody just settling down in their groups and working out who they're going to spar with over the middle part of the race. This race a 10-lapper. The final race, which will see a reverse points grid, top point scorers starting at the back, will be over additional laps. Mark Beattie ahead of Chris Brockhurst with, now we've got yellow flags or yellow lights flashing in the background, and why is that? There is Luke Simmons out, so in car or on board with Ben Higgins. This is, a little tap. I think Luke Simmons had somebody else involved behind him as well, went around. Ben Higgins continues out of that. So, oh dear, in contact there with Chris Brockhurst and Will Gibson. So Chris Brockhurst nudges the tyres and Will Gibson. So we saw Miles Rudman having issues in race number 1. Green flags being showed there. Steve Whiteleg goes on the dirt, crosses up, ends up racing with his brother. So it's Gary and Steve. Gary on the inside, Steve Whiteleg on the outside. On board with Charlie Budd now in white, coming into Paddock Hill Bend. Missing the apex by a bit. A little bit of dirt being kicked up there. Goes through on the inside, does Charlie Budd. Ben Higgins follows through as well. So Chris Brockhurst in the 89 will get going again. It's going to be a fair way down the field, but he'll get going just for points. As many points as you can get championship-wise could make the difference between a place or two at the end of season. And of course, if they can race, they like to race. That's the key point of it. Whiteleg coming out of Graham Hill Bend, still chasing Gary Whiteleg. Very busy in these early stages of this race. Let's see what Gary can do to fend off Steve. Not a lot, goes wide. Steve nips through on the inside run. I think Gary realised that was going to be a move completed before too long, and Steve Whiteleg will continue his charge up through the field. Be interesting to see whether he can break into the top 10 from the back of the field. Miles Rudman, the race leader though at the moment, and Nick Bridgman coming under pressure here from John Mickle. So it's Nick Bridgman in second, but for how long? Look on the inside, there is John Mickle's car coming through. Bridgman across the rumble strips on the outside, or the steeped curb. Down through Graham Hill Bend, Nick Bridgman holding on well, looking for a second pose on the podium at Pembrey, but Mickle's got the inside here as they go down towards the left-hander at Surtees. John Mickle up into second, so it's Miles Rudman leading, John Mickle second, then Nick Bridgman third. Bridgo having a go, back on the outside. This is good stuff from Nick Bridgman. Nathan Anthony fourth. Then Marcus Pett running well. Marcus Pett could be in line for top point scorer from races 1 and 2 here at Brands, and he'll be off the back in the final. So massive dice, this over 4th position. Marcus Pett to the outside of Nathan Anthony. Jack Parker behind Mark Beattie in green. Miles Rudman, the leader in black, goes out of shot. John Mickle, Nick Bridgman, this, as I said, for 4th. Nathan Anthony there at the moment in the Savannah, but on the outside goes Marcus Pett. Remember, this is only 2/3 of the job as far as the points on the day go. It's the top point scorer on the day that wins the round. Jack Parker at the back of this quartet, happy probably to sit and watch and work out how it's going to unfold at the moment. Mark Beattie on the inside, Marcus Pett side by side with him. Beattie gets a better run out of Druids down in towards Graham Hill. Pett's having a look now. Beattie comes across. It's clean racing between the pair of them. Marcus didn't want to risk anything. This is Luke Simmons ahead of Dylan Woodcock. Luke recovering from that moment earlier on. Second place not settled either, with Nick Bridgman still harrying John Mickle for second place. Admittedly, John has got into position as Charlie Budd comes under scrutiny of the number 20, Ben Higgins. Andy Bird behind them as well, coming up through the order. Andy Bird's going to get a decent score from these first 2 races as well, if he maintains the progress we're seeing at the moment. It's good to see Andy back on that form. Into paddock, we've got Ollie Schlupp up ahead of Ben Higgins, and there's Andy Bird coming through on the inside, and a great shot of a good pass by Andy Bird under the bridge into Druids. Andy's got the inside run. Ben will turn in. Andy Bird, last year's rookie champion, of course. Ben Higgins challenging for this year's rookie honours. And there's the battle, 2 groups of 2. Marcus Pett, meanwhile, still hasn't been able to get past Mark Beattie, who goes up into the back of Nathan Anthony's Savannah, and the 2 of them are out. That's a shame, but Marcus Pett will make up 2 places as a result of that. Mark Beattie recovers. I think the Savannah might take a little bit more to move. You can see we've got waved yellow flags there. And Nathan Anthony really does have some rotten luck at times. The race leaders are on to the last lap. Will Gibson still trying to make up progress. Andy Bird in front of him. Gibson in 9th place. Here's the view again from Ben Higgins. This is a terrific shot. Looking back at him as down the inside goes Will Gibson. Gibson through, still chasing Andy Bird. Charlie Budd ahead of them in 7th place. Ollie Schlupp's having a great run in 6th as well. This could be a good result for Ollie. The Schlupp's doing well. Mike getting a super result as well in race 1. Waved yellows there, so no overtaking. Miles Rudman, though, is going to grab the win. Andy Bird's got the fastest lap, by the way. 55.031. That could be beaten on the last lap. We'll wait and see. But there is Miles Rudman, comes out along the straight for the last time. It's a battle for second place. Nick Bridgman chasing hard, but John Mickle's going to take second. It's Rudman that wins. John Mickle second, side by side with Nick Bridgman. Marcus Pett takes 4th position, beg your pardon, from Jack Parker. Ollie Schlupp, Charlie Budd, Andy Bird in 8th place. Will Gibson 9th, Ben Higgins in 10th. And Andy Bird has secured the fastest lap of the race as well. But it's Miles Rudman, a 6th win of the 2022 campaign for the championship leader. Now, with that slightly lower finish in race 1, he could be nearer the front for race 3. Maybe another win beckons for him there. But here's confirmation of the result. John Mickle's 11th podium of the season, and a 2nd podium of the year for Nick Bridgman, echoing what he did at Pembrey earlier on. Steve Whiteleg 11th from Luke Tsakashis, Paul Simmons, Gareth Sheridan, Mike Schlupp, Gary Whiteleg, Luke Simmons in 17th from John T. Norman and Bill Reid, Dylan Woodcock 20th, and then James Newbury with Chris Brockhurst next up. Non-finishes sadly for Nathan Anthony, Mark Beattie, Eduardo Gago and Daniel Pooley. Cars heading into Parc Ferme, where Barry will catch up with our race winner Miles Rudman, who will be pleased to have ended the winning run of Will Gibson. Will won't be too happy about it, but decent points scored by those guys. Enough chat from me. Let's go down to Victory Lane with Barry.
Miles, now it's been an unusual day for you. Thank goodness you got a welcome return in the first place there on that race 2. But we've seen you spin and so forth this weekend. Uncharacteristic of you, but we're back on form.
Yeah, like you say, we just had a bit of an incident in race 1, and we didn't get the best finish, but managed to recuperate that in the second race and get a win.
Good clean win as well, and we've done some rough calculations as we go into race 3, or the final, 500 points ahead still, so that's a fairly good margin.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, it's a good margin, but we're still going to keep plugging away, and we'll still do our best. And we're still going to try and get on the podium every time.
So Nick, I don't know whether it's down to driver's skill or the interview crew giving you luck, but that went rather well.
Yeah, from the last interview, I think what we set out to do, we achieved, so I'm really pleased.
I was going to say, clearly, and seriously, the tweaks and so forth you've done to the car have made a big difference to you. Lets you get on with the job, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been 9 days. As I said, we was really struggling yesterday, and then obviously on our previous interview, I was chatting about this race getting a good start, and we was, I think, 6 on the grid, so 3rd row, and I got a really good go. Got a good start, got away. Miles, working with Miles for a while, and then John come through, and then me and John had a good battle for the rest of the race.
Luke, we haven't caught up with you this weekend, but you've had a busy day. 20th in race 1, up to 12th in race 2. That was a good result. So what are you thinking for race 3?
Same as race 2, really. Just try to stay ahead of the pack, keep up with the guys at the front. We've got the quick ones at the back coming through, so just try and keep it on the track, getting the consecutive 55s and stay in front of the rest.
Sharing the team car with Lee Fitzpatrick, getting a few tips off him, no doubt, over the weekend. How you find it in front of this big crowd?
Yeah, it's wicked. Obviously, Lee was racing yesterday and he done well, but big crowd today, so it's great fun.
John, a welcome return to the podium. A brilliant second place there in race 2. I was watching you though, not the traditional lines. There were some high lines from you, and then I suddenly discovered fluid on the track, so not easy.
No, it's not been easy all day. The Euro NAS cars have let a lot of rubber on the track, what makes it a bit greasy. Took out in the first race, so they're just trying to come back from this race to get a good second place, and he's trying to find some grip. It's not easy.
Still at the point here of the championship points, and that's always been the long game. Anglesey, as we've said previously, just round the corner, so you've got to make sure people keep out your way, but keep it fairly clean all around, really.
Yeah, it is. This is the halfway meeting, so we've just got to keep our nose clean and get to Anglesey and pick up some more points.
Dylan, race 3, final race of the weekend. Pole position you now find yourself in at one of the biggest events of the year so far in front of tens of thousands of people. How's it feel?
It's not too bad. Used to racing motocross in front of thousands of people, but just not 2 wheels. I'm used to 4 wheels, I'm not. So it's my second time in the grid, being at the front, bit nerve-wracking, but it should be good fun.
How are you finding Legends so far?
I love it. Me and my dad, we shared a car with another 2 stunt guys. They have their own cars, and we love it every weekend. It's such a good experience, always learning new stuff, and it's great.
Big grid behind you. Keep focused straight forward, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. Miles gives us a bit of Miles Rudman gives us a bit of advice on stuff like that, and he kind of just said enjoy it and drive how you know how to drive.
Now, Marcus, we've been doing our sums, and apparently you're top point scorer today so far.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, we've had a couple of really strong races, just off the podium in P4 in both, so it leaves us in good stead for the final.
Proves the point with the point system that you don't have to get the win or anything each time. It's just getting consistency, get to the flag.
Exactly, yeah, and good top 5 consistent finishes, and it puts you about there. So yeah, really pleased with how the day's gone so far. Hopefully we can build on that in this final race and move up the grid.
A lot of tactics in play for this race pre-Anglesey. What's yours?
Yeah, we got to keep a nose clean, but likewise we want a good result and convert our current pace into a decent finish for the day overall. So we'll be giving it everything.
When you get into race 3, you're always asking who's going to win this third race, but also who's going to come out on top as the day's top point scorer. Well, I tell you what, it won't be Charlie Budd, who pulls over there to the right of shot and into retirement. Our disappointment for the 44 car, so low-loaded away. Hopefully he'll be okay to come back for our next round on Anglesey. Front row of the grid, pole position, Nathan Anthony, Dylan Woodcock alongside, then Gary Whiteleg and John T. Norman, row 2, followed by Mark Beattie and Luke Tukashis. On board with Luke, you can see John T. and Gary immediately in front of us. and Nathan Anthony leading the cars down with Dylan Woodcock to the line, ready for lights out here. Slightly extended race to allow the top point scorers a chance to maybe work their way through the field. But away we go, and Dylan Woodcock leads off the line. Nathan Anthony in second, Gary Whiteleg is third. Into Paddock Hill Bend they go. Anthony, though, grabs the advantage on the inside at Paddock. Gary Whiteleg third. What a great start from these guys. This is their moment, really. John T. Norman locks up from fourth place. Mark Beattie up on his inside. Then it's John Mickle on the inside of Luke Takashis. Chris Brockhurst coming under a little bit of pressure there from Gareth Sheridan in the 99. Haven't seen too much of Gareth today, but banging in some good points. Miles Rudman in the black, number one, just out of shot at the moment, making progress. His lower finish in race number one, meaning he starts a little bit further up than the likes of Will Gibson in this one. Marcus Peck, top point scorer, as you heard, from races 1 and 2, starts at the back of the main group. We've got a couple of gentleman drivers that do race off the back as well. So it's Nathan Anthony in the Savannah, who is the race leader, got rear-ended in the previous race, but Martin Davey, the team, have got the van back out, as up into second place around the outside of Gary Whiteleg now goes John Mickle. So Mickle making very short work of the front runners, and up into P2. Steve Whiteleg in red taking an outside line. Mickle challenging at Druids, a little bit too far back maybe to get on the inside of Nathan Anthony, but very close, and notice of intent for the next few corners, I would guess. Will Gibson in the mix there, the outside of Gareth Sheridan. Jack Parker goes through and past Dylan Woodcock. Dylan doing a good few opening corners, to be sure, really getting experience of racing these cars off the front. So it's the Savannah leading from John Mickle at the moment. Nick Bridgman looking a little bit sideways there, but keeps it all moving in the right direction. Nick scoring well today too. Ollie Schlupp with Paul Simmons, Andy Bird in black and white behind, and John Mickle here switches to the outside, comes out of the toe, side by side with Nathan Anthony in the Savannah, gets his nose in front. Will he complete the move by the time they get to Paddock? The multi-champion has done so. John Mickle, the new race leader. Mike Schlupp, who's had a good day so far as well, is passed by Will Gibson. Jack Parker is busy challenging as well. Gary Whiteleg still in third at the moment behind Nathan Anthony. So this battle continues, and Miles Rudman is up into sixth place at the moment. Will Gibson not that far behind as well. Nick Bridgman, two of the Bridgman team cars together. You've got 66 Steve Whiteleg in red there as well. So how is this going to pan out? A lot of the big scorers getting towards the front very early on, and Nick Bridgman bumped off by Will Gibson, looks to the outside of teammate Steve Whiteleg. Gibson's going to go on the inside. I don't think Bridgman had enough speed to get past Steve Whiteleg there, and Gibson's going to pop up on the inside. He'll follow Steve Whiteleg through, but Nick Bridgman, fair play after another excellent podium in race number 2, hanging out on the outside. The advantage here is that he'll have the inside run down into Graham Hill Bend, and you can see Will Gibson is going to go for the cutback here. There'll be a little bit of a gap if he gets a good run. Luke Takashis in the mix as well, so it's still John Mickle out front from Nathan Anthony. Gary Whiteleg having a good strong run off the front. Miles Rudman now into fourth. Fifth is Mark Beattie in green. Luke Takashis just in front now of Will Gibson, who finally slots down the inside of Nick Bridgman. Here's the view from Nick, who, again, a driver who stayed with Legends for a few seasons, really developing as a driver. Getting podiums, had a race win at Cadwell, as we mentioned before. Luke Takashis now passed by Will Gibson, who's looking to try and claim overall honours on the day. Had that win in race number 1. He'll be looking for another fastest lap. No extra points for fastest laps in Legends, by the way. A lot of other formulae do that, but Legends don't. It's all a matter of pride for taking the fastest tour of the race, and indeed perhaps the meeting. You can see the gap that Will Gibson has got away from Luke Takashis now. Bridgman's going to have a look on the inside. Has he got a bit of an overlap? Not quite. Luke Takashis really learning his craft well. That's a team car, remember, so he doesn't get as much seat time over the season as the other rookies do, because he's sharing that with former champion Lee Fitzpatrick, who we saw in the car yesterday. Ben Higgins was going wide there. So Whiteleg and Gibson looking to try and catch up with these guys towards the front. Nathan Anthony P2, but for not much longer, because through on the inside goes Miles Rudman into second. So John Mickle the leader, Miles Rudman second, Nathan Anthony running strongly in third, Mark Beattie fourth in green. Then it's Gary Whiteleg. This is a super run from Gary Whiteleg in the number 8 car. About time he had some luck as well. He really does deserve it. He's had some rotten fortune so far this year. And other battles going on, well, of course, Dylan Woodcock and the 43 of Jonty Norman. A little bit further back, but enjoying their racing. They'll also be in the mix with the likes of James Newbury, Bill Reid and Eduardo Gago in this race and the other races over the course of the weekend. So I tell you what, Rudman has now caught Mickle. So Miles Rudman has caught John Mickle. Here's Gary Whiteleg down behind his brother Steve at the moment. Gary's still running well. Will Gibson goes to the outside, makes the pass. Steve Whiteleg's got away from Will Gibson at the moment, but Will get the hammer down and try and close in on him. Meanwhile, it's a battle for the lead, and Miles Rudman taking the wide line into Druids to try and get a better run down Graham Hill and maybe into Graham Hill Bend. But John Mickle, of course, has bags of race experience, not just in Legends over the years, but from the short ovals and many, many other circuit formulae as well. Nick Bridgman now having a look at Luke Takashis. There they go along Cooper Straight. Marcus Peck is in behind. It looks like a problem, sadly, for Dylan Woodcock. So Dylan Woodcock off the circuit. That's a shame. We've also lost Chris Brockhurst from the race, as well as Charlie Budd, who didn't start. Now this is the battle for the lead. So it's John Mickle leading. Miles Rudman, is he going to tee him up? Bit of bump drafting here. End-to-end stuff going on. Mickle keeping it close to the wall. He's going to try and make Miles Rudman go around the outside. Miles breaks ranks. Looks to the outside at Paddock. Could go for the cut back on the inside as they go down Hailwoods Hill now. Meanwhile, here we are, James Newbury dicing with Eduardo Gago. James always finds someone to race with, and Eduardo in that's actually the sedan version of the Savan that you see Nathan Anthony racing up at the sharp end, and we switch shots appropriately to Nathan, who comes under pressure from Stephen Whiteleg, goes through on the inside. Steve, you'll excuse the formality there. Into Surtees, still John Mickle leading, so it's Nathan Anthony in third place, and it's sort of former Q behind Nathan at the moment. But I'll tell you what, considering that car was damaged in race 2, the team have done a great job, and Nathan is holding a very respectable third place at the moment from Steve Whiteleg. Then Mark Beattie about to be passed by Will Gibson, who goes to the outside run here. Meanwhile, to the outside again goes Miles Rudman, challenging John Mickle for the lead. This is what Legends racing at the sharp end should look like. And Rudman is having to work hard here to beat the multiple champion. Well, they're both multiple champions. Of course, Rudman twice overall champion, the defending champion, hence the number 1 on the car. And John Mickle in the number 4. He's been synonymous with his career, long career as well, long and successful career. Former world champion in Legends cars racing as well. Through goes Steve Whiteleg now in third place. Nathan Anthony under big pressure from Will Gibson, who tee up the inside as Will got the run along Cooper Straight to move up into 4th, not quite. Nathan's not giving it up, and Will Gibson decides discretion's the better part of the valor. They're giving each other in at the moment. Mark Beattie running strongly too in the 85. Battle for the lead goes through. Steve Whiteleg on his own at the moment in third place. I tell you what, Will Gibson's got a lot of work to do to try and catch up with the leaders. He's going to have to work hard to catch up with Steve Whiteleg. Across the line they go again. Gibson on the inside of Nathan Anthony, who's driving superbly here. And Mark Beattie is going to follow through as well as they go through Paddock Hill Bend. And just out of shot, we saw Miles Rudman go through. Rudman's got on the inside of John Mickle. So Rudman leads, but John Mickle in the quick steel car is going to fight back. Let's see what John Mickle has got in reserve. A little bit further back as well, Luke Takashis, busy chase, that's Ben Higgins in front of him. Ben Higgins running strongly. Here's the view from Jack Parker's rear-facing camera. Paul Simmons ahead of Mike Schlupp. And that's a very busy shot, gives you an idea of the closeness of the cars, the speed of the cars as well. Steve Whiteleg third, still Will Gibson 4th, Mark Beattie in 5th place. It's going to be Mark's best finish of the year if he hangs on to it. Nick Bridgman now dicing with Nathan Anthony. Great race between these two. Nathan's had some super racing in this one, and Nick looking to the outside line here. It's a job to know where to look, actually. And look at the train of cars behind, headed by Ben Higgins and Luke Takashis. Across the line they all go. Andy Bird about to pass Gareth Sheridan, goes to the outside. On the inside goes Ollie Schlupp, Mike Schlupp in front of him as well. Superb stuff from the Legends in this slightly longer race as Marcus Pett is pulling up. Marcus Pett becomes the 4th retirement of the race to the left of shot as we were looking. He's not going to win the day. That is a major disappointment for him. Ollie Schlupp on the inside of Gareth Sheridan. Now we've got Andy Bird through. Andy chasing Ollie's dad, Mike Schlupp, in the number 3. This is for third place. Will Gibson busy chasing after Steve Whiteleg, who's after yet another podium in his comeback year. And it's Miles Rudman out front, crosses the line again from John Mickle. Rudman the leader. John Mickle, though, as you saw from that shot, is by no means finished in this race and is going to hunt him all the way to the flag. Luke Takashis on the outside in, Luke Simmons inside, Jack Parker in front of him in the blue and gold. Simmons is going to have a look on the inside, Takashis is past, Mike Schlupp goes through, Andy Bird goes through as well. Switch to Andy's on board. Lovely shot of Andy Bird just working his way through the field. Ben Higgins at the front of this group. Those guys dicing for Ben in 9th place at the moment, Jack Parker 10th, and then Paul Simmons in 11th position. Andy Bird looking to try and get up into the top 10 at the moment. Has made good progress through from the rear of the field. Nathan Anthony still running strongly. Great race from Nathan. Super race from Gary Whiteleg as well. Another one of the Bridgman team cars. So Gary Whiteleg and Nathan Anthony, some good results to take out of this race. And of course it's not quite over yet because we've still got one more lap to go as Bridgman chases Whiteleg, goes wide. Whiteleg challenging Nathan Anthony. 3 drivers all scrapping over 6th position. Nathan's still there at the moment. Gary Whiteleg will chase. He's going to force Nick Bridgman to the outside. Under the bridge, on the brakes. Is he going to be able to hang on to that position? I think Nick Bridgman, he's got the move done, hasn't he? Great stuff from Nick Bridgman. Passes Gary Whiteleg. Clean and fair racing from the pair of them. Absolutely brilliant. Mike Schlupp coming under pressure from Andy Bird. And Andy, I think, got the position as they went into Graham Hill Bend. This, though, the battle for third place, Steve Whiteleg and Will Gibson. And we've still got John Mickle and Miles Rudman out front. Here we go, Steve Whiteleg gets a good run. It's going to be a win for Miles Rudman, who's managed to break a little bit clear of John Mickle. Up to the checker, Rudman, Mickle, a gap. Third position is going to be Steve Whiteleg just from Will Gibson. Mark Beattie takes an excellent 5th. Nathan Anthony in 6th place. There is Nathan. Nick Bridgman 7th from Gary Whiteleg and Ben Higgins. Some superb results there. The top 10 completed by Jack Parker from Paul Simmons and Andy Bird in 12th. It's Miles Rudman who takes a 2nd win of the day. And I think probably with it, possibly, the overall meeting win. Here's the result. Rudman from Mickle, Whiteleg, Will Gibson 4th and fastest lap from Mark Beattie. Nathan Anthony and Nick Bridgman, Gary Whiteleg in 8th. Then Ben Higgins and Jack Parker. 11th went to Paul Simmons from Andy Bird and Mike Schlupp. Gareth Sheridan was 14th. Then Ollie Schlupp and Luke Takashis. Luke Simmons in 17th. John T. Norman and James Newbury next. James getting the better of Bill Reid. 21st was Eduardo Gago. And the non-finishers, sadly, in that race, of course, Marcus Pett, Dylan Woodcock, Chris Brockhurst and Charlie Budd, who I've no doubt will be back to fight another day. The meeting points look like this. Miles Rudman does indeed get the win by 10 points from Will Gibson. Steve Whiteleg winds up on the podium in 3rd place from Jack Parker and John Mickle. Let's join, though, Miles Rudman with Barry.
Miles, a very well-deserved win there. Great way to end the weekend. Still up on the points board, and as we go for 7 days' time to Anglesey.
Yeah, sure. Like you say, it was a great win and a great battle with John there. But yeah, managed to get the win at the end, and it's another good day for us. Some more good points for the championship, and yeah, we were 7 days away. We were at Anglesey, so it's nice to keep the car in one piece as well.
Miles Rudman continues to lead the championship from John Mickle and Will Gibson. Steve Whiteleg moves from 6th to 4th. Marcus Pett is 5th. Jack Parker 6th from Chris Brockhurst. Andy Bird, Charlie Budd and Nick Bridgman in 10th place. A big thanks for watching today. We'll catch you next time on the Isle of Anglesey. From all of us here at the National Legends Cars Championship, thanks for watching and bye for now.